In the early 1970s, Harley-Davidson owned nearly 100% of America's heavyweight motorcycle market. By 1979, Honda and three other Japanese manufacturers had slashed that below 15%. The Wall Street Journal predicted Harley wouldn't survive its 85th birthday. What followed was an $80 million management buyout. A team of engineers walking into a Honda factory to study the very system that was destroying them, and a recovery so complete that Harley eventually told Washington it no longer needed protection. But to understand how they took everything back, you have to see how completely they'd lost it. A decade earlier, Harley-Davidson stood nearly alone in the heavyweight motorcycle market, selling almost every big bike in America. That dominance unraveled with a speed that stunned the industry. By 1979, Harley's share of its own backyard had collapsed to below 15%. The numbers tell the story. In 1970, the company shipped over 1 million motorcycles, with heavyweight models making up nearly all the revenue. But while Harley was still celebrating its near monopoly, Japanese manufacturers were quietly rewriting the rules. Honda's CB750, launched in 1969, was the first four-cylinder superbike to reach American showrooms. Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Suzuki followed with their own high-reliability, low-maintenance models. U.S. import records show Japanese heavyweight sales jumping from zero in 1968 to 120,000 units by the end of the 70s. Inside Harley dealerships, the change was impossible to ignore. Service logs that once recorded nothing but Harley repairs now listed a growing stream of Hondas and Yamahas, rising from less than 5% of tickets in 1970 to nearly a third by 1978. The Wall Street Journal captured the mood with a blunt prediction. Harley-Davidson might not survive to see its 85th birthday. The collapse was absolute. From owning the road to fighting for scraps, Harley was losing not just sales, but its very place in American culture. The shock waves would set off a desperate search for answers and a reckoning with the company's own choices. American Machine and Foundry arrived at Harley-Davidson in 1969 with a new philosophy: build more, faster, and cheaper. The $21 million deal handed control to a conglomerate that knew bowling balls and pin setters, not motorcycles. AMF executives set aggressive targets. Monthly memos from Milwaukee headquarters tied bonuses to the number of bikes shipped, not the number of defects avoided. At the York, Pennsylvania plant, the shift was immediate. Skilled machinists were replaced or reassigned, and assembly lines ran double shifts to hit an annual goal of 1 million units. Parts once checked by hand now sped past on conveyor belts. Supervisors were told to cut any inspection that slowed production. Dealers began to notice the fallout almost at once. Warranty logs from 1971 to 1974 show more than 12,000 claims for oil leaks, loose bolts, and missing accessories. A dealer letter from 1973 described new bikes arriving half-finished, with the customer finishing the job. Internal AMF defect reports confirmed the problem. Between 1972 and 1975, component failure rates jumped 35%. Factory inspection summaries listed thousands of units with missing fasteners or faulty seals. Yet AMF board minutes made it clear that quality metrics were secondary. The only numbers that mattered were cost per unit and daily output. Mechanics on the floor recall a culture of speed over care. One veteran said they built at 75% capacity, but half the bikes came back for rework. Labor unrest followed. In 1974, a strike over unsafe conditions and wage freezes shut down York for 4 days, but the output mandate never changed. By 1973, warranty expenses had soared to $5.2 million, triple the level before AMF took control. Dealers spent an average of 4.3 hours fixing each new bike before it could be sold. The damage ran deep. As Japanese bikes won praise for reliability, Harley-Davidson's reputation for American craftsmanship unraveled on the factory floor. 13 executives gathered in a Milwaukee boardroom in early 1981, facing the reality that Harley-Davidson was out of options. Led by Willie G. Davidson, grandson of one of the company's founders, the group signed off on a plan that would put everything on the line, an $80 million leveraged buyout. The deal required them to assume the entire debt load left by AMF, with the company itself pledged as collateral. Each executive put personal assets at risk, betting not just on a brand, but on their own ability to save it. Bankers and analysts called it reckless. The Wall Street Journal predicted the company might not survive another year. The new owners moved quickly to distance themselves from the AMF era. Willie G. Davidson became the face of the turnaround, rallying employees and dealers with a simple message: the eagle soars alone. This line, stamped on internal memos and a limited run of softail motorcycles, became a statement of intent. Harley would chart its own course, free from conglomerate interference. The buyout transferred control back to people who understood the product and the culture, but it also left the company with a mountain of debt and almost no margin for error. Inside the company, the mood shifted from resignation to resolve. For the first time in years, the people making the decisions were the ones who would live with the consequences. But the risk was enormous. Every dollar spent on plant upgrades or new models had to be justified against a steep debt schedule. The buyout brought hope. It also meant that failure would cost more than just jobs. It would mean the end of Harley-Davidson as an independent American manufacturer. Vaughn Beals stepped into the breach with the weight of Harley-Davidson's future on his shoulders. The numbers were stark. The leveraged buyout saddled the company with $80 million in debt, and every month brought the threat of default. Bank covenants set strict limits. Miss a payment, and the lenders could seize the plant, the tooling, even the name. Cash flow statements from 1981 show operating income falling short of the $14 million in yearly debt service, forcing management to negotiate a 6-month waiver just to keep the lights on. Inside the boardroom, the mood was tense. Each executive who signed the buyout had pledged personal assets. If Harley went under, they would lose not just their jobs, but their homes and savings as well. On the outside, skepticism was everywhere. The Wall Street Journal ran a headline that cut to the bone, saying that Harley-Davidson might not survive its 85th birthday. Industry analysts gave the company less than a 1 in 3 chance of making it through another year. Dealers, once fiercely loyal, began to hedge their bets, stocking more Japanese bikes. Suppliers demanded payment up front, wary of a collapse. Every decision became a gamble between survival and extinction. Beals knew that simply hoping for a turnaround would not be enough. The company's survival would depend on more than cost-cutting or a lucky break. Harley needed a new way to build motorcycles, one that could match the reliability and efficiency of Honda's plants in Ohio. The answer, Beals believed, would not come from protectionist tariffs or nostalgia, but from a complete overhaul of how the company operated. The next steps would demand a willingness to question everything, from the assembly line to the supply chain, and to learn from the very rivals who had nearly destroyed the brand. In the summer of 1982, Harley-Davidson's engineering team arrived at Honda's Marysville, Ohio plant with notebooks in hand and a sense of urgency. The visit was not a friendly exchange between rivals. It was a mission to understand how Honda had managed to build motorcycles with such consistency, speed, and reliability. On the factory floor, the Harley delegation watched as parts moved seamlessly from station to station. There were no warehouses stuffed with months of inventory, no piles of unfinished bikes waiting for missing components. Instead, Honda's just-in-time system kept only what was needed for the day's production, using Kanban cards and visual cues to trigger every movement of parts. Back in Milwaukee, the lessons from Ohio were put to the test. The first pilot of just-in-time manufacturing launched on Assembly Line 3 in July 1982. Initial data from the plant's production logs showed 1,200 units of work-in-process inventory stacked up across machining and assembly. By December, after 6 months of Kanban-driven scheduling, that number had dropped to 600, a 50% reduction, confirmed by Harley's internal field notes. The impact was immediate. Less money tied up in unfinished bikes, faster cycle times, and fewer chances for defects to creep in. Engineers reported that parts now flowed smoothly, and the constant scramble to find missing components had all but disappeared. This operational breakthrough did more than cut costs. It proved to skeptical bankers and wary suppliers that Harley could change. The company's own field memo described the result as confirmation that a pull-based system could have inventory without sacrificing output. For a business still shouldering $80 million in buyout debt, the ability to move faster and smarter was a lifeline. The pilot's success set off a wave of reform across the Milwaukee and York plants, laying the groundwork for broader quality improvements and giving Harley's leadership the confidence to press for policy support. The company was no longer just fighting for survival. It was learning how to win on its own terms. On April 15, 1983, the Reagan administration signed Proclamation 5050, imposing a 49.4% tariff on imported motorcycles over 700 cubic centimeters. This was no small adjustment. It multiplied the previous duty tenfold, instantly raising the price of Japanese heavyweight bikes. Harley-Davidson, still reeling from years of financial strain and quality issues, finally had a buffer against the flood of Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha and Suzuki machines. The policy bought time, but it was never meant to be permanent shelter. Japanese manufacturers responded in a matter of months. By late 1983, Honda dealers were selling the CB 700S C Nighthawk, a 699 cubic centimeter model engineered to slip just under the tariff threshold. Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Suzuki followed with similar displacement changes, keeping their bikes on showroom floors and their prices competitive. The import statistics tell the story. Japanese heavyweight imports dropped from 122,000 units in 1982 to 78,000 by 1985, a 36% decline. The average price of those imports jumped from $3,200 to $5,650, while Harley's own prices rose only 12% in the same window. For Harley, the tariff offered a rare moment to regroup. U.S. market share climbed from 12.5% in 1983 to nearly 20% by 1986, and total heavyweight shipments increased by more than 60,000 units. Revenue followed, growing from $290 million to $424 million. But the numbers only tell half the story. Vaughn Beals and his team knew that protection would not last. The breathing room allowed them to accelerate operational reforms, lean manufacturing, just-in-time parts flow, and a relentless focus on quality. The tariff was a shield, but the real weapon was internal discipline and a willingness to learn from the very rivals who had nearly pushed Harley off the road. On the factory floor, Harley-Davidson's overhaul began with a single question: could American bikes ever be as reliable as a Honda? The answer started with W. Edwards Deming. In 1983, Harley's engineers brought Deming's quality philosophy and statistical process control, SPC, into every stage of production. Teams tracked every step, charting defects by the thousand. At the height of the AMF era, engine block machining ran at 2,800 defects per million. By 1984, that number fell to 1,200. The change wasn't cosmetic. Warranty claims dropped by 41% in just 6 years, and the company's annual reports finally showed a warranty expense ratio below 4%, a level not seen since the early 60s. The real test came with the Evolution engine. Launched in 1984, the Evo was the first Harley built entirely under the new quality regime. Engineering logs from the period document a mean time between failures of 7,500 miles. That's more than double the reliability of the old shovelhead design. Horsepower climbed to 67, torque to 84 pound-feet, and fuel efficiency improved by 12%. For dealers, the difference was immediate. New bikes arrived ready to sell, not ready for a rebuild. Customers noticed, too. The Evo quickly became the backbone of Harley's comeback, earning a reputation for American-engineered reliability that matched anything from Japan. Behind the scenes, quality teams and Evolution engineers became the new core of the company. Their work gave Harley the credibility to ask for loyalty, not just nostalgia. The Defect drop in the Evo's performance didn't just fix the product, they restored trust. With the numbers to prove it, Harley-Davidson could finally compete on quality, not just image. The launch of the Harley Owners Group, HOG, in 1983 marked a new chapter in how Harley-Davidson fought back against its rivals. For decades, Japanese manufacturers had challenged Harley on price and reliability. But they could not match the sense of belonging that came with riding an American V-twin. HOG turned that feeling into a formal community. In its first year, 33,000 riders paid dues to join, far exceeding company projections. By 1985, membership dues and event revenue brought in $4.2 million, a meaningful boost for a company still clawing its way back from the brink. The impact stretched far beyond the balance sheet. Dealerships with active HOG chapters saw a 12% jump in new bike sales compared to those without. HOG members spent more on branded gear, accessories, and service. Annual member spending on extras averaged $150, reinforcing the bond between rider and dealership. The HOG Gazette reached nearly 200,000 readers, giving Harley a direct line to its most loyal customers and a platform to promote new models and events. For dealers, HOG was more than a marketing tool. It was a sign that Harley riders were coming home. Organized rides and rallies filled parking lots that had once been empty. New owners, drawn by a sense of camaraderie, found reasons to return to the showroom, not just for repairs, but for community. In an era when competitors offered little more than a machine, HOG offered identity. This emotional capital became a competitive moat that no tariff or technical fix could replicate. Harley's comeback was built not only on better bikes, but on the power of belonging. In February 1987, Vaughn Beals appeared before the International Trade Commission, not to plead for more time, but to ask for the early removal of the import tariff that had shielded Harley-Davidson since 1983. The hearing transcript captured a moment few could have predicted just 6 years earlier. Beals faced the commissioners and stated plainly that they were profitable again, and that they did not need any more help. The numbers backed him up. By the end of the decade, Harley's share of the heavyweight motorcycle market stood at 27%, a dramatic climb from the low teens of the early 1980s. Internal financials showed positive operating income and a healthy balance sheet. Inventory levels, once bloated with unsold bikes and spare parts, had returned to pre-crisis norms. Even as Japanese manufacturers continued to innovate and compete on price, Harley's own prices remained steady, supported by a base of loyal customers and a reputation for quality that was finally earned, not just claimed. The International Trade Commission hearing was more than a policy footnote. It was a public declaration that Harley-Davidson could now stand on its own, without government protection. The company's transformation had been built on more than tariffs. The discipline of just-in-time manufacturing, the relentless tracking of defects, and the community forged through the Harley Owners Group had all played a part. Harley had borrowed the best ideas from its Japanese rivals and made them its own, combining process discipline with a sense of belonging that no import could match. The eagle, once battered, soared alone again, this time by choice, not by necessity. Today, Harley-Davidson stands as proof that survival means adaptation, not nostalgia. The real turnaround wasn't a tariff. It was quality, process discipline, and the courage to borrow what once threatened to destroy them. As Vaughn Beals declared, "We're profitable again. We don't need any more help." In the end, the eagle soars alone. By learning from rivals and forging its own future. Share your thoughts below.